Good afternoon, folks. It's Erick Erickson. These are your four things to know this afternoon. We'll cut through the noise and get to the heart of the news. And yes, tell you the rest of the story here. Let's dive in. First up, Israel and Iran. The world's attention remains fixed on the Middle East, where Israel and Iran have spent the last week trading blows in a conflict that's as much about survival as it is strategy. As of today, both sides have escalated their attacks. Now let's review. Israel has launched more than 60 airstrikes into Iran, targeting missile manufacturing sites and the headquarters of Iran's Organization of Defensive Innovation and Research, an agency the U.S. has previously linked to nuclear weapons development. Iran, for its part, has fired over 450 missiles and 1,000 drones at Israel. Most have been intercepted, but the toll is mounting. There are at least 657 dead in Iran, though mostly military figures, 24 in Israel, mostly civilians, thousands of wounded on both sides. Today in Geneva, Switzerland, diplomatic efforts between the UK, the EU, and Iran have failed. The United States has insisted Iran give up its nuclear program. Iran has refused and has walked out of the talks just a short time ago. The rhetoric is heating up as well. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu and Defense Minister Israel Katz have openly discussed the possibility of targeting the supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, arguing that his death would end the conflict, not escalate it. President Trump, meanwhile, has dismissed Israeli proponents to assassinate Khamenei for now, calling him an easy target, but saying the United States is not going down that path, at least not yet. While all of this is happening, we need to keep in perspective here, and just to answer Tucker Carlson, Iran is a nation of over 90 million people with a patchwork of ethnic and religious groups and a long history of separatist movements. If the regime in Tehran collapses, it's not just a new government we'd be dealing with. It could be a civil war, fragmentation, and a power vacuum that makes Iraq look like a picnic. Late today, a 5.2 earthquake was detected near Iran's major missile depot. Seismographs indicate the earthquake was very near the surface, which suggests explosions happening. Given that the depth was less than 15 feet, we can presume the explosions were missiles blowing up and not weapons testing. While the headlines focus on the rockets and the rhetoric, there's a quieter crisis unfolding. Israel is running dangerously low on missile interceptors, the high-tech defensive munitions that have saved countless lives by shooting down incoming Iranian missiles and drones. The United States has rushed additional Navy destroyers to the eastern Mediterranean and the Red Sea, all equipped to intercept ballistic missiles in an effort to shore up Israel's defenses. Now, while all this is happening, there is a problem. The pace of Iranian attacks has forced Israel to burn through the stockpile of Arrow interceptors at an unsustainable rate. According to United States officials, Israel could be forced to start rationing interceptors within days if the conflict continues in intensity. The United States has known about the shortages for months and has been sending additional support, but now American stockpiles are at the risk of depletion. To put it plainly, neither Israel nor the United States can afford to play on defense forever with this situation. At some point, the calculus shifts. As Tom Carrico of the Missile Defense Project puts it, we cannot afford to sit and play catch. If Israel runs out of interceptors, its cities become major targets, and our global readiness becomes compromised. This is the cold reality of modern warfare. It's not just about who has the bigger army. It's about who can sustain the fight. Right now, Israel and the United States are staring down the barrel of a logistical crisis that could force new, riskier decisions to be made. Late this afternoon, the Trump administration sent reduction in force notices to more than 600 employees of the Voice of America. These notices amount to layoffs as presidential pick Kari Lake, in charge of the agency that oversees the Voice of America, restructures it. Notably, last week, the Voice of America recalled back to work its Farsi language division, which broadcasts into Iran. Republican members of Congress have expressed concern about the cuts to the Voice of America, which is a soft power asset the United States has long used to broadcast support for dissident groups inside Iran and information they can use. It's a radio signal as well that Iran has struggled to block. The new cuts do not seem to affect the Farsi division, which has just been recalled to work, but the extent to who was cut and how long they'll be cut, if not permanent, has not been made clear. Congress is starting to ask questions this afternoon as word breaks of the layoffs. Finally, a story that hits closer to home for American businesses and consumers. The Supreme Court today declined to fast-track a challenge to President Trump's sweeping tariffs, leaving the tariffs in place for now while the legal battle plays out in lower courts. Here's the background. Two family-owned American toy companies, Learning Resources and Hand to Mine, have been fighting Trump's tariffs in court, arguing the president overstepped his authority by imposing tariffs under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, the IEEPA. Lower courts have so far sided with the companies, ruling the law doesn't give the president unlimited power to slap tariffs on imports at will. But the rulings are on stay pending an appeal, and the tariffs remain in effect. The companies have asked the Supreme Court to take up the case immediately, bypassing the appellate review, because the tariffs are affecting nearly every business and consumer in the country. The justices said no. Means the tariffs and the uncertainty they bring are going to continue for the foreseeable future. It's a classic case of executive power versus the rule of law. President Trump has argued the tariffs are necessary to protect American industry and punish bad actors like China. Critics say the constant back and forth on tariffs create chaos for businesses, raising prices for consumers, and it undermines the very economic stability the tariffs are supposed to protect. Those of us who are conservatives, this is a reminder that even if you agree with the ends, you have to worry about the means. Conservative or executive overreach is dangerous, no matter who's in the White House. The courts are right to take their time and get this one right, and I don't blame the Supreme Court for saying they'll just wait for the appellate process to go forward. So what's the big picture? In the Middle East, we're watching a conflict that could redraw the map, test America's resilience, and force hard choices about how much we're willing to risk for our friends and for our future. At home, we're confronting the limits of our own power, military, political, and economic. As always, I'll keep you updated on these stories as they develop. I'm Erick Erickson. These are your 4 things to know this afternoon. Please remember to subscribe to the podcast and stay informed, stay involved, and please keep the faith. Have a great weekend.